Alright, so The Simpsons has been around forever, like literally older than some of you watching this. On the surface, it's just a goofy cartoon about a yellow family that eats donuts and strangles their kid for laughs. But if you actually dig into it, The Simpsons has some storylines so dark, they make Breaking Bad look like Sesame Street. I'm talking about behind-the-scenes feuds, character deaths that were more brutal than Game of Thrones, and jokes so controversial Fox execs were sweating harder than Homer in a donut shop. These are the moments that prove Springfield is not just wacky, it's actually kinda cursed. So today we're counting down 10 Simpsons storylines that were way too dark for TV. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand why Disney Plus would rather bury these than put them next to Bluey. Number 10, Fox didn't want to say gay. We're kicking this off with Homer's Phobia, the classic episode where Homer spends the entire runtime being scared his son might be gay, which in itself is already wild for a primetime cartoon, but here's the thing, Fox originally didn't even want them to use the word gay, yet the censors literally sent the writers 2 whole pages of notes begging them to rewrite or tone down the language. Meanwhile, Homer's out here calling John queer, and building a fake man factory to toughen up Bart. The wildest part, despite all the pushback, the episode not only aired, it went on to win an Emmy and a GLAAD award, which is hilarious because the same execs who were sweating bullets about the word gay had to smile and hold that trophy later. And now, looking back, this episode actually aged surprisingly well. The only thing that didn't age well, Homer's giant metal robot to scare Bart straight. Yeah, that one didn't make it to Disney Plus. Number 9, the critic crossover feud. So picture this. The Simpsons are at their peak, basically the most unstoppable show on TV. Then along comes The Critic, another animated comedy created by some of the same writers. Naturally, Fox thought, hey, let's do a crossover. People love crossovers. Except Matt Groening, you know, the guy who literally made The Simpsons, absolutely hated the idea. He thought it was a cheap gimmick to promote a struggling show, and even worse, he didn't want people thinking he made The Critic, which, to be fair, is kinda like if Nickelback tried to sneak into a Beatles reunion. So when Fox said, too bad we're doing it, Groening took his name off the episode entirely, and then publicly dragged his own producers in the press. Like, imagine working with someone for years, and then watching them roast you in the New York Times. Ouch. In the end, The Critic flopped anyway, but the fallout was brutal. James L. Brooks, one of the biggest names in TV, called Groening out for going way too far. Basically, it turned into Springfield's version of a Twitter beef, just with fewer memes and way more passive-aggressive interviews. Number 8, Maud Flanders' death was about money. Everyone remembers the episode where Maud Flanders gets killed by a t-shirt cannon at a NASCAR race. It's one of those, wait, did that really just happen, Simpsons moments. But what most fans didn't know is that her death had nothing to do with the story and everything to do with Money Maggie Roswell. The voice of Maud was flying from Denver to LA every week to record her lines. So naturally, she asked Fox for a raise. Not like buy me a mansion money, just enough to cover travel. Instead of giving her the bump, Fox basically told her, here's $150, 0 cents, deal with it. So Roswell quit, and instead of negotiating, the writers went, guess we'll just kill off Maud then. Like, imagine losing your job and your character gets taken out by a t-shirt cannon. That's cold. The backlash was huge, with fans calling it one of the most disrespectful character deaths in TV history. Years later, Roswell actually came back to the show, but by then it was too late. Maud was gone, Ned was traumatized, and Springfield got a little bit darker. Number 7, the adoption joke. The writers regret. For all its heart, The Simpsons has pulled some jokes that hit way harder than intended. One of the most infamous came in Homer's triple bypass, where Homer is about to go into surgery and wants to say something meaningful to his kids in case he doesn't make it. It starts off sweet, then Bart ruins the moment by telling Homer, hey, don't forget to tell Lisa she's adopted and that you don't like her. Yikes. Now on paper, it's a classic Dark Simpsons gag, but behind the scenes, the writers got roasted by actual parents of adopted kids who said it was cruel and genuinely upsetting. Mike Rice even admitted that if he could take one joke back, it'd be that one. Because let's be real, no kid should be finding out they're adopted in the middle of their cartoon dad's fake heart attack. It's one of those rare times where The Simpsons didn't just cross the line, they pole vaulted over it. Number 6. The Waltons versus The Simpsons. Now let's rewind to the early 90s back when The Simpsons was considered the most scandalous thing on TV. Like, people were clutching their pearls because Bart said, "Eat my shorts." Truly the end of civilization. Even President George H.W. Bush got involved, saying, American families should be a lot more like the Waltons and a lot less like the Simpsons. Which is hilarious because the Waltons were literally praying for the Great Depression to end, and the Simpsons were just trying to afford Duff beer. The writers clap back in the very next episode with a savage little intro where the family says, "We're just like the Waltons. We're praying for an end to the Depression too." Mic drop. But the feud didn't stop there. A few seasons later, Bush actually moves in across the street from The Simpsons, and Homer ends up fist-fighting the former President of the United States in his front yard. Imagine Biden showing up on Family Guy and scrapping with Peter Pan. That's the level of unhinged we're talking about. It's one of the darkest and pettiest beefs in TV history. A literal US president throwing shade at a cartoon family and losing. Number 5. Sam Simon's exit. Matt Groening might be the face of The Simpsons, but a huge chunk of the show's DNA came from co-developer Sam Simon. He shaped so much of the humor, the satire, and even the heart of the early seasons. But behind the scenes, things got messy. Simon felt like he wasn't getting enough credit compared to Groening and James L. Brooks, and tensions boiled over. By 1993, he walked away from day-to-day production. But here's the twist, he still got an executive producer credit and collected millions every single year until his passing in 2015. We're talking over $10 million annually. Brad Bird and other insiders have called Simon the unsung hero of The Simpsons. And in a rare moment of reflection, Simon himself said, "I've gone from getting too little credit for The Simpsons to too much." It's one of the darker behind-the-scenes storylines, proof that even Springfield's funniest family was built on some very real creative feuds. Number 4. The joke that had to be altered. If there's one thing about The Simpsons, it's that once a joke airs, it pretty much lives forever. But there's one exception, a gag so poorly received, they actually changed it in reruns. In Season 4's Marge Gets a Job, Mrs. Krabappel lists all the fake excuses Bart has used to skip tests. Smallpox, the bends, and Tourette's syndrome. Bart even does an impression. At the time, it was just another edgy gag, but it didn't sit right. Families of kids with Tourette's were outraged, and one boy, Joshua Smith, even wrote a letter demanding Bart apologize. The backlash was strong enough that the writers quietly swapped the line in later broadcasts, replacing Tourette's with rabies. And the irony? Bart actually gets attacked by a wolf in the episode, so rabies almost makes more sense. It's a rare example of The Simpsons admitting, okay, yeah, maybe that one went too far. Number 3. Tracey Ullman seeks royalties. Actors before The Simpsons became the juggernaut we know today, the family actually debuted in short skits on The Tracey Ullman Show. Ullman even had the chance to voice Marge, but passed due to scheduling, leading to Julie Kavner taking the role. But when The Simpsons blew up into a global phenomenon, Ullman wasn't exactly thrilled. She argued that since the characters got their start on her show, she was entitled to a cut of the massive profits. Her lawsuit? She wanted over $2 million, 0 cents in royalties. The courts, however, disagreed. Fox pointed out that she was already paid $58,000 royalties plus millions for her own show. The verdict went against her, and she later admitted she was disappointed, but joked about it in interviews. It's a story that shows the darker side of success. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, but not everyone gets a slice. Number 2. The Troy McClure movie that never was. Phil Hartman was comedy gold on The Simpsons. As Troy McClure and Lionel Hutz, he delivered some of the most iconic side character moments in the show's history. Hartman loved Troy so much that he actually pushed for a live-action Troy McClure movie. Imagine a whole film of those You May Remember Me From gags. Sadly, it never happened. In 1998, Hartman was tragically murdered by his wife, who then took her own life. His final performance as Troy came in Bart the Mother, and after that, the producers retired his characters permanently out of respect. It's one of the darkest and saddest chapters in the show's history, not just because we lost a legend, but because we'll never know what a Troy McClure movie could have been. Number 1. Stark Raving Dad, pulled from Circulation. Circulation Magazine, issue 17, June 19th, 19. If there's one Simpsons episode that's been buried in controversy, it's Stark Raving Dad. This was the season 3 premiere where Homer meets a man in a mental institution who claims to be Michael Jackson. While the singing voice was done by a sound-alike, the speaking voice was actually Jackson himself. At the time, it was a huge deal, the King of Pop appearing on The Simpsons. But decades later, after the release of the documentary Leaving Neverland and the resurfacing of allegations against Jackson, the producers made a tough call. They pulled the episode from syndication, streaming, and even DVD box sets. Matt Groening admitted it was heartbreaking to erase part of the show's history, but the team agreed it was the right move. And now, what was once a fan favorite is practically locked away, only available through bootlegs and old VHS recordings. It's a reminder that sometimes a cartoon can't outrun real-life controversy, and even Springfield isn't immune to cancellation. So there you have it, 10 Simpsons storylines that were just a little too dark for TV. From presidents throwing shade to lawsuits, feuds, tragic losses, and pulled episodes, these moments prove that America's favorite family isn't all couch gags and donuts. The Simpsons has always pushed boundaries, but these darker chapters show us the human drama, the behind-the-scenes tension, and the controversies that shape the show's legacy. Which of these did you find the most shocking? And did we miss a dark Simpsons moment you think deserved a spot on the list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss more deep dives into the world of animation.